Hey there, and welcome to the channel. If you're someone who's been feeling anxious, overwhelmed, or just plain tired of that constant mental buzz, we're glad you're here. Because today, we're diving into a simple but powerful mindset shift that could change how you handle anxiety forever. What if that constant hum of anxiety, that mental static always buzzing in the background, could actually be turned way down, almost to mute? Imagine facing life's curveballs not with that familiar knot in your stomach, but with a strange, unfamiliar sense of calm. Sounds pretty out there, right? Anxiety feels like the norm these days, but what if a simple shift in how we look at things, something as ordinary as watching a football game, actually holds the key to feeling more grounded, more steady, even in the middle of chaos? Anxiety is that unwelcome guest that overstays its welcome. It's the tightening in your chest before a big decision, the endless loop of what-ifs keeping you awake at night, the constant feeling that you're bracing for something but you're not sure what. It's a whole-body experience that drains your energy and robs your focus. We're bombarded daily with things to worry about: the future, relationships, work, health, our loved ones. Our minds spin, constantly searching for control in a world that feels increasingly unpredictable. And that's the core of it: uncertainty. The part of life that doesn't come with a roadmap or guarantees. We want to know how things will turn out. We want to skip ahead in the story and see how it ends. But life doesn't offer that. And in that gap, between what we want to know and what we can know, anxiety grows. Now picture this: you're watching a recording of a football game, a big one. Maybe it had you on the edge of your seat when it aired live. But this time, you already know the final score. Think about how that changes everything. The nail-biting tension? Gone. The frantic worry about whether your team will pull off a last-minute comeback? Vanished. You still watch the plays, the effort, the drama, but the emotional chaos, it just doesn't hit the same, because you know how it ends. You're not forcing a result. You're not stuck in what-ifs. You can relax into the experience and maybe even appreciate it more. You start to notice things you missed before: the precision, the teamwork, the flow of the game, because you're not tangled up in fear. This is the secret. When we remove the weight of the unknown outcome, we experience the same events with entirely different energy. And while we can't know the future in real life, we can make internal shifts that give us that same sense of calm. We can start to live like we already know the score. Not by predicting the future, but by anchoring ourselves in certain deeper truths that dissolve anxiety at its roots. One of those truths? Everything changes. Nothing lasts forever. Impermanence isn't a downer. It's a release. When you stop clinging to the idea that things have to stay a certain way forever, you're free to fully show up for what's happening right now. Knowing the game will eventually end makes every play more meaningful. Another shift: knowing your core values. What matters most to you, no matter what the scoreboard says? Is it connection, growth, peace, integrity? These values become your inner compass. You stop getting tossed around by every loss or win because you're playing your own game, your own definition of success, not society's, not anyone else's. Then there's accepting what you can't control. Most of our anxiety comes from trying to manage things that aren't ours to manage. The future, other people, outcomes. Like a player trying to control the weather, it just adds unnecessary pressure. But when you focus on what is in your hands, your breath, your choices, your perspective, you feel more powerful and less panicked. You stop playing every moment like it's a make-or-break situation and start engaging with more trust. And finally, there's the big one: accepting the end of the game, mortality. Not as something to fear, but as something that makes every moment more vivid, more sacred. When we stop fighting the fact that life ends, we start truly living it. The weight of time lifts, the present sharpens. So how do we actually live like this, like we already know the score? It starts small. It starts with practice. Mindfulness helps, not because it erases anxious thoughts, but because it gives you space from them. Try it with your breath. Just feel it move in and out. When your mind races, come back to the breath. Over and over. It's not about doing it perfectly. It's about building a habit of returning. Then there's acceptance. Let the anxious thoughts be there, but don't let them run the show. Watch them come and go, like clouds passing through the sky. You don't have to believe everything you think. You can also question those thoughts. Ask yourself, is this fear based on facts? Or is it just a worst-case scenario my mind created? What if this isn't a threat, but just discomfort I can handle? Journaling can help too. Reflect on the things you're trying to control that aren't yours to carry. Write about what you truly value. What really defines your version of a win in life? This isn't about getting rid of anxiety forever. It's about changing your relationship to it. From enemy to messenger. From fear to focus. Because when you start to live like you already know the score, anxiety doesn't disappear, but it loses its grip. You play the game of life with more clarity, more peace, and more presence. So what would it look like for you to stop chasing certainty and start trusting the process? What's the score you're ready to accept? Not as defeat, but as freedom. If this analogy clicked with you, or if you found your own way of finding calm in the chaos, I'd genuinely love to hear it. Drop it in the comments. Someone else might really need to hear what you have to say.